Awesome. Welcome to the Hip Hop Hustle podcast. I am extremely excited about my next guest, my current guest, the one and only ReeCee Raps. I love that name because there is zero misinterpretation as to what you're going to get. And that is very much rapping. But the thing is, you also can sing as well. So it's not only that you rap, but you can also sing. You've done some amazing things. You've been performing on like hundreds of stages. Like all I see on socials is you promoting shows and performances. So we're definitely going to talk about that for sure. You've got dope band. You've got like a dope event company. You've got singles that came out. You're literally doing so many things. You also cook as well, which I noticed as well. But yeah, like I always seem to ask a similar question at the beginning, but like when you hear someone else talk about all the things that you do, like, does it feel like, oh yeah, I actually do all that kind of stuff? Like I do a lot.
Yeah, it was the fact that you even mentioned the cooking thing. A lot of people miss that part, but yeah, it I think it really set in for me really when I was like, yeah, I do all these events, but I haven't like worked for anybody else doing events. It's been independently. And I was like, I might want to get some experience. So I updated my resume and I was like putting all the skills. And I was like, that's when it really set in. It was this large, like big paragraph of all the different duties and tasks that I do for just that part. And I was like, it's a lot of different hats you got to wear as an entrepreneur and different lanes, and you just gotta do it. But also, I'm at a point now where it's like, yeah, I do a lot, and I'm realizing that, and I have to start outsourcing more to get to the next level.
Yeah, I think it's a good problem to have though when you're looking at your resume and you're like, hey, I actually do a hell of a lot. I think a lot of people go, I don't do much and I got to pad it out and I got to make it look like I do a lot. So
Yeah, I never thought of it that way. Could be worse, right?
could be so much worse. But like, is it easy for you to let go? Is it easy for you to like pass it out to other people? Or is it easy for you to like, let go of the reins and let someone else do what you've been doing for a long time?
No, it's not. It's not easy. I'm struggling with that right now. It's like, okay, so I was like, since February, I'm like, all right, at least for my events, because I do a lot for my music as well, and I've been kind of taking it in phases where I'm really focused on one then the other, and then I'm blending them. And when I was in California for so long, for like it felt like so long because I had two events when I got back. And I was like stressing out, answering. I was at a conference. I'm trying to answer questions for the artist. I'm just thinking about this person doesn't have their link, thinking about all this stuff. And I'm like, I have to outsource. I have to hire some people and put them on a team. So I finally that was back in February. Finally last week, I put out a posting like, okay, I'm looking for people to add to the team. And people started reaching out. Other people started reaching out like, how can I help? I can't be there, but I can do it digitally. I really want to help. I love what you're doing. People reached out from the event page that didn't even necessarily know about me and just the events. And now I'm like, okay, so I got the people here now. I have to actually like, all right, here's what I need you to do. And so I'm kind of, it's like when you do everything, you like things done a certain way, you kind of like, you want to give people their space to do them creatively, but it's kind of like, what do I delegate out? I know I don't like, I can do the graphics, but I don't necessarily want to. So I got to bring someone in that actually enjoys to do that. And it's just like me trying to figure out how much I should still keep on, or should I just like put everything away to where I could just like focus on sponsorships and just other things. Or my music, because sometimes I do so much I can't even focus on writing and creating as much. So it's a lot. It's a lot of questions that I'm answering, but I do have people that are ready to help right now this second. And some of the stuff I was doing today is actually getting them their prompts, what they should do. So I'm
So it's like
learning.
it's like this new. It's like so new for you then. the like
Mhm.
a recruitment, the hiring, the interviewing, and like it's like it always sounds really easy. And professionally, like I have had a corporate career, and the hardest part of my jobs have always been recruitment because like you never know until they're in the front door. And it's like some people are great at saying the things you want to hear, and you just got to have like references and you got to have. And so my respect for people who do recruitment is like through the roof because it is really tough finding good people that you can trust.
Yeah, I definitely I'm looking forward to seeing how these events go with this new event coordinator I hired today. I mean, I I don't know. I don't know how it's gonna go, but what I was sure about what I was looking for me, it's more important than an experience is the work ethic and the attitude, and the willingness to learn. Because that's what I want. I want people that you can mold, to what you know how to do. I didn't want a whole lot of people that had a lot going on their own, and then I just wanted it to be like, let's grow. I could bring you in, I could teach you what I know. You could be like my apprentice in a way, like and just have a good attitude. So I was like, we're looking for hardworking and motivated individuals, with a good attitude. So and people that believe in it. So look, we might have to do an update to see how that
Well,
went.
to be fair, we could definitely do an update, but I actually think that is the best way to hire, like hire culture fit and hire for what you want in your team. Because I actually think you're 100% right. Too much experience is not good if that's not what you need in your team. Like if you want someone you can teach and be like, hey, this is what I've been doing the whole time. I just need support with doing that kind of this way. And then the problem is that at the beginning, it actually is more work. So
Yeah.
it takes some time before it like actually pays off and you can put your hands off. But like, yeah, I think ultimately learning to let go is the hardest part that any one of us has because like sometimes 80% is good enough in the sense of like you will do it 100%, but your time is more valuable than getting that extra little 20% in some tasks that really don't matter a huge amount. And if you can offload it, and if it's like, okay, this is not how I would have done it, but it's still pretty good, then that is almost good enough. So like there is like this freedom to doing it. Cause yeah, as you said, must be so difficult to also create on top of all the other things that you're doing.
Yeah, it can get really. I gotta just like get the creative moments when I want to get them. So, or when I get them, sometimes I'll stay up. Like if I'm in a creative mood, I'll stay up till like 7 a.m., 8 a.m. writing and doing things because if I'm in it, I'm gonna stay in it. So that brings me to one of the things. So I recently this month I joined because I feel like I want to be on more of a schedule. So they have this school called Pendulum Inc., which is like a rap school essentially, right? So I've been a member since the beginning of this month. So it's fairly new. And a big reason for me doing that is like I feel like I'm an amazing rapper. I want to do it at a if I have assignments and just a regularity in how I have to write and turn in, it's gonna help me just get more of a greater output and get more of a scheduling on. So I think people go to school for different reasons. Some like the structure of school, and I definitely want to learn. They're definitely pushing me out of my comfort zone writing wise. And I'm kind of like toggling with what I want because I want to be super dope. Like I want to be able to like I make music too though, like I don't want to make my music so complicated to where somebody can't understand it by hearing it, but I do want to push my pen, in any way I can, especially when it comes to doing freestyles and when it comes to like getting on radio shows and different things. And I want to prepare for that second stage, doing the media runs and just so I'm able to write high quality stuff like every day, all the time. And it's like, I am able to, but sometimes if you don't have that structure in place, like saying, hey, this is what you have to do, you're not going to get better. So yeah, I'm in rap school now to see and what happens, and up the frequency on, my writing.
So funny because like rap and school, they don't seem like they go hand in hand. You know what I mean? Like the culture of hip hop has always been like anti-establishment, anti like structure, like freedom and me doing whatever I want and us creating the rules as the artist. So it's like it's cool that there's a rap school. I've actually thought about this for a while that like, it feels like traditional schools, they're focused on like music theory. And so it's like general music theory as opposed to like, how do you construct bars and like, how do you create a song and how do you flow lyrically? And like, so I think that is such a cool concept of like actually a rap school, even if it's just teaching you the basics, but like at least it gives you
No,
some.
they're not just the basics. They got levels. They got so many levels. Like it's like they moved me to a more advanced class because like in the first class I was already doing a lot of the stuff. So that would have been just like up to frequency. But the class they moved me to, I'm like, oh shit, okay. Everybody in the class is fucking dope for one. And not everybody may not be pursuing music, but there's so many dope rappers out here like that are just really fucking dope, and it makes you push your pen, and it's like it's high level stuff, and it's the second year they've done it, so it's still fairly new. We get in our textbook, they're making names for these things that never had names, and it's really dope. It's definitely innovative. Shout out to Mickey Fax, Chilla Jones, Comic Book Cam. They got classes not only on rapping, they got classes on songwriting, music business, as well as content creation and rhymecology. That's about like rap, how it relates to mental health, and just a lot. Like, so it's very interesting. Definitely one of them should be on this podcast.
I've actually interviewed Mickey Fax.
Oh, you have? Oh, I
Yeah.
did see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. That before the school?
I think that must have been. He didn't bring it up. I got to say, it was one of the funniest interviews I've done because he was like eating pretzels throughout the interview. And I was like, man, you just don't give a fuck today, do you?
Yeah, Nikki is definitely a talented writer. So it's been interesting, breaking down these bars in class. And I've only been in a few classes because I'm fairly new. They moved me to the more advanced class, and now I'm like playing catch up. So I'm just like, I'm about to write some raps when we get off here because I had class this weekend, and it's definitely using some techniques that I'm not used to using, some of the stuff that we're learning. So I'm definitely good with flows, patterns, but certain things I might have used it before, but not made it a practice. So, but I also don't want to make it overcomplicated. I want to stick to what I'm doing, but then add some of that stuff. But I don't want it to be like a puzzle when you listen to my lyrics.
Yeah, I think that's the hard part of like, I think Jay-Z said this before that he's had to dumb down his raps because he knows that if you go too far, then it becomes too much. And for the everyday person who isn't like diving into the lyrical kind of combination of it all, that they just can't recognize what you're doing and it just becomes overly complicated. So I think there is obviously that balance of like having enough complexity for it to be impressive, but also simple enough for it to sound good and so that everyone understands what you're talking about. Because there are some artists who just go for the most complicated rhyme schemes, but at the end, you're like, I have no idea what you said at the end. Like, what was the point of this?
No, literally, it's like, and I don't listen to music for that. And I don't listen to music like that because I like the feeling first, and if it's lacking feeling, if you're making stuff, and sometimes when you make it so like concrete or in a way, it's like I lose interest personally because I'm listening to lyrics. I listen to lyrics, but I also listen to feeling, and I want to get the message, and it's about relaying the message more than anything, so can you get your message across? Can you relay a feeling? Can can you relay how you felt and transfer that energy into a song to where somebody listens to it and they feel it as well? That's a skill, you know, to be able to capture things, just like an artist, a visual artist, you know, or some of these paintings, you know, they were able to capture, feel it on a painting, and then that I'm stuck with that forever. This might have been more than just I see it as just a heart, you know, it's just a heart, but they might have made it more complex in their mind, but for me, it's like I like it because it's a heart. It's the same way as for music. It's like you gotta make it, and it could be like the whole song can be a double entendre in a way, you know, to where you make it simple, and then there's also a deeper meaning. That's just different levels to it. So I want to push my pen, but I also want to keep the essence of what I'm doing, you know, in my style, because that's what makes me me. And I feel like I'm big on feeling, I'm big on emotion, I'm big on messages, and I'm big on just expressing myself. Because I feel like once you're not expressing yourself anymore, then the music becomes like, what am I rapping just to compete with others, you know, just so you could believe that I'm a good rapper? And it's like, no, I make music because I make music. And that's what I make it for. I make it because I wanted to make it. This is how I felt. And I got to keep that essence. So that's why I was like, mainly for, you know, freestyles, verses, but also for the whole community of going to the school, meeting people, and also being around other people that are really fucking dope at writing. Because sometimes when you don't see other people doing it around you, I see dope people, but it's levels, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I just think it's a cool thing to like acknowledge within yourself to be like, hey, I can do better. I think the scariest
Yeah.
thing for us as adults is like being like a beginner at something again, or like even admitting that you have room to grow. Like it's just, we're all now at a point where we're good at stuff. Like I am good at XYZ, but like starting from level one again and like being open to starting from level one again is like extremely scary, because it's like, oh shit, now I have to like make mistakes and do all that kind of stuff. So I think it's just a cool thing for you, and a good sign of like where you want to go, that you're open to like learning and pushing yourself outside your comfort zone, and like being like, oh, I need to learn how to add skills to my existing skill set, as opposed to just be stubborn and stick with what I've been doing the whole time.
Right. Yeah, you got it. I feel like you're always going to be able to get better, no matter how dope people say you are or how dope people think you are. And I was just having a conversation. I was like, yeah, I feel like I need to be better performing. And so I was like, you think you could be like, yeah, I need to be a better performer, because it's like it's levels. I could get so much better, even though I'm really great. I'm really good at what I do, but like I got to get better than what I am. You know, you always can progress, because if you're not growing, then you're dead, you know?
I also think it becomes boring at that stage. Like if you're not pushing the boundaries of what you can do, like, is it even exciting anymore? Like, is it even like, does it even inspire you to get out of bed? Because it just becomes monotonous. You just start being like, oh, what's the point of all this? I'm just doing the same shit I've been doing for like years and years and years. And I think that's why there are artists who just stop making music at some point. They're just like, I'm kind of done. I don't have anything else I want to achieve, or like I need a break. And it's just, they just get to a point. And I think from the outside looking in, we're like, how could you stop? You're on top of the world. But then they're just like, yeah, this isn't everything. And then I've just lost my passion for it.
Right. I feel like it's about remembering your why and having that clear, you know, and that's when it comes, because I deal with so much with doing music, and it's like, yeah, sometimes it does feel like that. Like, what are you doing it for? What, like, I'm so far in, it's like I decided I wanted to do this, and I went for it. I've been going for it. I haven't stopped going for it since I started, regardless of what circumstances. But I feel like it always brings me back anytime when I may be feeling discouraged about my career, or what I'm doing. I remember like why I'm doing it. I remember like, yo, your music is can change perspective. Your music can change people's lives. Your music can break down stereotypes. You know, your music can do so much. You doing music, not like personally me doing music, not you, but me doing music can show people so many different ways the path that I'm going down, and the route of independence. I can inspire so many. I have inspired so many already, and sometimes we forget what we have done and how many people I've already impacted, you know, through just pursuing what I wanted to do. So it's only going to get greater and greater, you know, the more down the line. And I think when you think about that why, you also have a responsibility to realize the power that you have as a creator and what you're putting out to the world, and to have that, make sure you're being responsible with that, you know, knowing the why, being responsible with what you're putting out there.
Yeah. I think that's a good thing to have, of like, know your why. But I also think people need to create. Like, I think everyone is creative in their own way. We have our own creative genius, whatever that looks like, whether it be, you know, as a musician, whether it be as a rapper, whether it be as a writer, or just someone who does anything else. I think there is this part of us that we suppress, and I don't know why, of like this creative part of us, of like, especially when you're growing up, like it's not really explored that much. I see like most people just have a 9 to 5 and they don't do anything creative. And it's like, I wonder how many people out there have a creative genius, but we never see it. And then we lose that potential in the world. And, you know, my brother started painting recently and he's fallen in love with painting. And it's just like, it's so cool to see that we all have our own version of creativity, but you got to let it out. I genuinely believe you got to let it out. Like, the world deserves for you to let it out and express yourself.
Yeah, it's interesting because for a long time, I mean, I've suppressed my creativity, you know, in the past. You know, there was a period in my life in my early 20s where, well, not not that early, like, well, early 20s, like to 23. I'm saying it like that was that long ago, but but it was a part in my life where I was just going to work and I was suppressing my creativity. I wasn't pursuing it. I also was in a relationship where I wasn't able to pursue it, but on top of that, I was just like, you know, a closet writer, you know, and even in high school too, even before I started making music, I would just suppress so much of who I was like as a performer. And I wanted to do a lot of things, a lot of different things. I wanted to be in theater and just so many different things that I just didn't do because of what society statistics about median incomes or what people get paid or society, and I just lived a regular life from like high school to like working in insurance and everything like that, making 6 figures selling insurance, but not happy at all, you know. So I I've seen how much more fulfillment I've gotten by just leaving corporate and going for what I wanted to do. And I've seen how much it's impacted so many people around me, how the community I've built, you know, around me just by doing what I wanted to do. And I'm like, man, I could have moved to Charlotte and just sold insurance because my job was like, you could work from home, whatever. So they send me on my equipment. I did it for a couple years out here, but could have moved here, just worked insurance, still never pursued music. And my experience here over the past 5 years would have been completely different. Yeah, I would be probably a millionaire from insurance by now, maybe. But just the people, it's like a butterfly effect when you think about just by you doing that, how many people's lives have been changed. Because just through me, you know, I've thrown nearly 100 events in Charlotte since 2019. I've had over 1,000 people touch one of my stages, you know, just, I don't know if that number is right actually, but
I would guess it's more.
it's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot of people touch stages. plus all the stages I performed at, plus people that met at my events, people that met other people and different things, plus all the just the people that follow me online and have seen my story, seen me grow from nothing, seen my work ethic, you know, just from everything. And I would have that same work ethic when it came to work, you know, but now it's just pouring into myself. It kind of like I lost interest in working more. But it's like just people see me traveling, just doing my life, you know, even if they haven't even expressed that to me. It's like by doing you, I've impacted like thousands of people, I'm sure, just by doing what I do. And that's not to mention all the people that listen to the music and love the music and it helps them through things. And that's just like, it's so many different avenues. And it's like selling insurance and making money doing that. I mean, I was impacting lives on the insurance side too, though. I was helping people with their plans. They're like, thank you so much. I was a great agent, but it's like, I feel like I'm doing way more, you know, over here.
Let's be honest. I used to work at a bank, so I kind of get what you're talking about, but let's be honest. Your impact at that insurance company is not the same impact that you're having now. They say thank you because they need to say thank you because you're helping them get through this absolute bullshit of whatever we have to go through. Because like, I know when people saying thank you when I was working at the bank, they're really thankful because like I'm helping them deal with complicated stuff. They're not actually that thankful that they have to go through it. They're just like, I couldn't have done this by myself. And as much as you're good at your job, not the same impact. 100% agree.
Yeah, it's not. Even though I was helping them people with their plans, they needed the help though. They needed the help. That's why I was like, I kind of felt like, oh man, my clients, I gotta say, but then I'm like, yeah, no, I don't feel passion in this, you know. So it's like when you do stuff, just I mean, you helping people, but you make a paycheck, but it's just so much more rewarding to just do what I want to do. I have so much more freedom now working for myself, and I'm able to like just put people in position. And I employ people too. You know, I'm getting hosts, DJs, different people that are part of it, food vendors. We have small businesses at all our events. You know, we're empowering them by allowing them space with people there to actually be there, and people are finding out, okay, what's going on in their city, the talent that they may not know about and everything. And just, I think it's so important to like be that in your community. Like what I've contributed to this community in the past 5 years is a lot. And I want to just scale that globally because I feel like creatives are the heartbeat of whatever place you're in. And I have a passion with shining a light on all the dope people I know, because I know a lot of dope people, because I don't think there's a deficit of talent. There's a deficit in work ethic, information, you know what I'm saying? But it's a lot of talent out here that you'll never hear of. Like the dopest rapper never pursued it. It's probably selling insurance, you know, somewhere. So yeah, it's a lot but it's a lot. If somebody's listening to this, if you do have a dream, everybody has a dream. Everybody has something that they enjoyed when they were younger or they wanted to do when they were younger. And I think you should go back to that. I always wanted to be a performer. I was a performer growing up. I performed at my granddad's group called the Unspeakables. And it was a lip syncing group. And he would put together shows. We would have different songs. I started from when I was like 4, you know, till when I was 12, when I moved from my hometown of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So uncovering that part of me was not just a phase when I was a kid, and going back to it in 2018 and like, oh, I still love to do this. This is me and this is who I always was. Just walking in that, you know, remember that childlike dream you had, you know, that you felt like it was too far-fetched because society told you it was, you know, and go after that, I feel like, and you'll find the most fulfillment.
Can I ask, how did you arrive at that realization? So like, I'm picturing you in your 9 to 5 every day. You've got this like subconscious version of you that's like wanting that creativity. You need it and you're just suppressing it, but you're still doing the 9 to 5. You know, you have the potential for success. What's the flipping point? Like, was there anything that happened, or what was the mindset shift where you were like, oh no, this is not it? Like what was that like of you seeing that and then making the decision to follow that dream?
Well, for me, about here's how it kind of works for me. It was a little different because, like, okay, I performed when I was up until middle school or elementary school and under. And then in middle school, high school, I wasn't really pursuing. You know how they have the kids that are like into all the art, the talent shows, everything. I wasn't doing none of that. Wasn't pursuing it in high school. Wanted to in the back of my head, but talk myself out of it. But when I was 19, my freshman year in college, that's when I started rapping. I used to freestyle just for fun, you know, with my friends and stuff. And I was like, well, if I could freestyle, then I could probably rap. So I was in class and I wrote a rap. And then I started posting them to YouTube when I was 19. And so that was like, just from there, I was like, yo, I'm really good at writing and I want to be a rapper. So I just, but putting it out there was kind of scary, but I was like, I don't care. I was putting it on my YouTube and Facebook. And then I met my ex. So I was pursuing from there. I was like, yo, I want to be this artist, but it was still like a hobby for me at the time. And then I met my ex, who also was a rapper, and he was like 7 years older than me. And he basically gave me an ultimatum, like, and I thought I had it like a soulmate. He gave me an ultimatum, like, either it's me or rapping. And I'm like 6 months in at this point, writing raps and putting them on YouTube. I had 100 subscribers. I was building a little base on YouTube and stuff like that. I have videos are getting like 1,000, 2,000 views. It's nothing major, but it was like for somebody that was just rapping on their MacBook, you know, nothing major.
It was major for you.
Yeah, it was pretty. It was like I was a secret. That was like my secret thing I had. I was like, yeah, I'm rapping and doing videos. So, anyways, he gave me the ultimatum. I thought I had my soulmate at that point. You know, you're young and you don't know what's going on. You don't even know yourself. So I was like, all right, I stopped rapping and took all my videos, put them on private. And I was just in that relationship for 4 years. And like anytime I would write a couple songs. I would just write stuff, you know, or go in his studio and record some stuff that but it was like I wasn't allowed to. I would ask him like to go to open mics. So you want to go to, like, I had to go everywhere with him. I couldn't do stuff on my own. So I wanted to perform. I wanted to go to open mics. I wanted to do things, but it was like I would be like no. He would say no all the time. So, and it was abusive. It ended up being an abusive relationship, you know, and stuff like that. So I was just, work was like just my escape because I couldn't do music, you know what I'm saying? I couldn't do music. So work was just my only thing I had accomplished. I was like, all right, well, being number one, I would dream about work. That was just the only thing I had because I was just living in a toxic environment. So when I left, I was like, it was very therapeutic for me. When I left and I moved, I left everything. And in January 2018, I left all my clothes, belongings, took my dog, and like just got on the highway instead of going to work one day and moved from Kansas City to Charlotte, where my parents had moved and a couple of my siblings had moved a few years prior. So, because I was there with no family in the middle of the country, like 15 hours away. So when I moved, I was like, I felt so free. I was like, I could finally do what I wanted. I was like, I want to make this music. I want to make this project. So I started writing songs and stuff. And that was like what I did. Like from January to March, I was just writing songs. I was reciting them and stuff like that. And then I was like, I gotta find a studio now, you know, and I end up meeting my producer at the mall because I was always shopping and getting new clothes. Because one thing I did have, I left everything, but I had a lot of money. So I was able to like reset everything up because it was like, I was just like getting money just to see how much money I could make. And that showed me something too, like that money doesn't matter, you know, because I was always like, all right, well, I just got to make 6 figures and I'll be happy. And then I was like, all right, I just got to work from home doing it, and did that, you know, still wasn't fulfilled. But like, so I met my producer at the mall in April, and first person I met in Charlotte, he's somebody that had a gold record at the time, like never see him out, he'd be in the studio. It was like really just fate. I spoke it. I wanted it. And it was sent to me, you know, in that relationship with Crazy Figs. Then I got in the studio in April. He, you know, was making the beats, producing me, telling me how to say it. And like this EP, the Dope EP, a lot of those songs are from my first and second studio session, you know, like ever. And just making it, because he made sure it sounded right. I knew one thing, I wanted to invest in myself, and I didn't want to sound like I just started, because I spent 4 years not pursuing it because I was in that relationship, and I felt like, man, I'm so behind now, because I would have already been famous by now. I'm like, if I would have just kept with it when I was 19. But I will say, that change, of course, definitely changed who I was. It changed my trajectory. It made the purpose even deeper, you know, and it just, you know, it helped me better be the person I am today. So I don't regret it. And who knows if I would have like popped at like 22, 23, all this stuff happening, plastic surgery, all that stuff, you know, like who knows what path I would have went down without my head on my shoulders. So I'm grateful for the journey and how it worked. But yeah, it was like really getting out that relationship and leaving that just opened up to like a life that I could not have even fathomed, like me even doing any of this. Like it was weird telling people my name was ReeCee at first. Like I would be like, because I never went by a nickname. My granddad nicknamed me ReeCee. So it was like paying homage to what he instilled in me. And it was weird just going by. I didn't even have Instagram. I got Instagram in 2018. Like once I start, like mid 2018, once I start finishing the music, I'm like, okay, like I gotta actually get on Instagram now. I'm really doing this. And once I decided, like, okay, I'm an artist, and I was going out and telling people that, even if I didn't believe it, even if it felt weird. And then that same year, I won Female Hip Hop Artist of the Year by the end of that year in Charlotte. So it was like, to me, that was just like, wow, I was somebody last year who was making the most I ever made in my life, but very depressed, living in Kansas City, no family. Now a year later, I'm Female Hip Hop Artist of the Year, Charlotte, been performing, been doing so many different things. So it was definitely like just confirmation for everything I was doing, and it happened really quick, you know, just how I was growing. That's a
You went
long,
back to back, right?
yeah, back to back. Yeah. So 2018 and 2019 in the Queen City Awards. So just my first couple years. And I felt like for me, it was like, I didn't know. I felt like it was like premature, but then also I felt like I can't help the people want me. The people want me, so I can't help that I'm chosen, you know. So it just was like, some people ain't like it. Some people had a, well, she just started, or she just moved out here, and da 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 da. And I'm like, well, it's whatever. But also,
Well,
nobody was
y'all need to do better if that's the case. If she
right.
got started and she's winning, y'all need to do better. Like, here's the thing: it feels bad to lose, but it also is a good lesson to lose, because it should motivate you to be like, oh shit, no, I have to do more. Yeah, that I think I'm a competitive person. I like competition because I think that's part of it. I think that losing and getting your pride hurt and that feeling, that negative feeling, is a good feeling to have, so that you're reminded, oh, I don't want to feel that again. So I got to hustle and I got to get better so that you can have the winning feeling. Because I love winning more than anything almost.
Man, yeah, I love to win. I'm an Aries, so my birthday just passed. I'm very big. I'm very competitive. I love, like, if I believe anything that I focus on, I will get, you know. And then coming from a sales background, you know, too, it's like, yeah, I was going to Hawaii with my job. Like, I wasn't just any sales agent. Like, I was the sales agent, you know,
But
when I
you and
cared
I, can I just say, you and I are very similar. I have a sales background, and I went to India recently. For my work, I'm going to Europe recently, and I'm a Capricorn. So from what I hear, I'm not really aware of all the star signs, but I know Capricorns are notoriously stubborn. So like everything that you're saying, I'm like, oh yeah, this reminds me of me. Tick, tick, tick.
as a Capricorn, I feel like the Capricorns, y'all will get whatever you want, and you might be patient in getting it too. I'm very impatient. I'm like, all right, I need it right now. But I feel like y'all will take whatever time to get to where you want to go. That's what I've noticed from the Capricorns that I know is like definitely good people to have around. So
Well, my
yeah,
brother's always like, Aaron, you're pretty impatient. You got to like I believe in the long term journey, but I'm also like, fucking hurry this shit up now. Like I want it today, but I'm grounded enough to be like, realistically, will take time, but I'm also, dumb enough to be like, I want it now. I don't want to wait.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm gonna go like 120, and it's kind of like how I run too. Like I rather sprint really fast and then walk than just jog. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I kind of work in life. I rather sprint and then all right, I need to take some walk time to rest and then sprint for it again. And then you'll see stuff in spurts where I'll go like super duper hard, and then he's like, all right, you might not see me for a second. Not that long, but just a second. And then when I come back, I'm coming back hard. So it's kind of like trying to find that balance in between like being impatient and being patient, just the balance and everything like that. Like, so it's a learning experience. And I think as we get older, we can kind of learn how to slow down a little bit, but plan more, and plan for it and stick to it. So that's where I'm at with it.
Well, can I just say, from you telling your story, and I appreciate you telling your story because I'm sure it's not easy to kind of remember and think about, how you felt at the time. But from hearing it almost like your music represents your freedom. Like that's what the story essentially said to me, and it's so great for you to share that, because it also showed like, being older now, you can tell like where the red flags are, in the sense of like with the people around you, an ultimatum 6 months in. To me, that was like, oh shit, this is not going to be good. Like this is just like controlling, and it's difficult when you're young because you hear the stories, but you're like, that won't happen to me. That's not
Right.
this. And you start and you convince yourself that you're not in that position. So, I think we're only benefiting from you telling your story and only benefiting from you, realizing your dreams and your passions. So I just want to reiterate that, because like it is so important that people continue to listen and hear what we all have to say. And it goes back to our point, probably 20 minutes ago, which was like, everyone should share, because ultimately the more we share, the better it is. And like, genuinely, the shift in your face and the way you looked between talking about you being a salesperson versus you now and talking about your creativity is polar opposite. Like you light up when you're talking about your music, and that is so much better. And it just continues to show that you're doing the right things for yourself and also for the people around you.
Yeah, and it's important that we do, because I feel like everybody has their purpose in their lane, and if we don't walk in it, then at the end of your life, what have you accomplished? And it's like money, I feel like is too much of a driving factor for people when it comes to choosing what they will spend their life doing, and it's like, because money comes regardless of whatever you do. If you're exceptional at what you do, the money comes. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just you can make money doing anything. So I'm like, if you take the time to actually build something that you love, then you can actually make money and be happy one day. So it's like, it's just fulfilling to be able to just do it. You just don't understand the impact when you're in it. Sometimes everything's just moving and you're like, all right, go. And then you look back and you're like, wow, like I've done a lot. And it's important for us to realize that as well. And it's like, and celebrate our milestones and celebrate ourselves, through all of it. Cause I know we're in this, like, everybody always tell me, keep working. We see you, keep working, keep going. And it's like, damn, nobody said, hey, why don't you rest for a second? Like, I see you working really hard. Maybe take a spa day. Maybe take some time. It took somebody to tell me that last weekend for me to even say on my birthday, I'm not going to do nothing work related. I'm going to, even though I performed, but I performed because I wanted to. I performed at an open mic because I wanted to. But it was like, I didn't make no flyers. I didn't do nothing, no event promotion. I didn't do nothing. And I went to the spa and I swam. And it really took me a second to realize, like, what do you like to do outside of the music? Music is definitely freedom for me, and it's a form of my expression, but it's important for me to not get lost in the music and create a life outside of music, so because music is my life and I do so much through it. It's so fulfilling. But I also have things that I like to do, like I like to swim. I didn't know I liked to swim for a long time. I forgot I liked to swim until I was like at a hotel in California, and I was like, I had a hotel for like 3 days, and then they had a beautiful pool outside, and I extended it instead of going right to the airport, or instead of checking out. I extended it, and I was just swimming for hours, and I was like, man, I really love to swim. Like I forgot that I love to swim. I like to hike. I like jet skiing. I like to do zip lining and outdoor stuff. So it's important that I'm doing stuff that Shauna loves to do, and that will create better music in the end and inspire me more to come back to the music, because I think sometimes we get so wrapped into, this is still work now, it's a career now. So I'm finding that balance in actually doing the things that I just want to do that will help my mental health more, and that just stuff just you like to do. I like to cook, I don't have to make it a thing all the time, a spectacle where I'm like holding up my phone trying to record it for my cooking page and doing it. It's like, just cook, just do it. So I think it's important that we nurture our just all the things we love, and put that time and effort into those things that we love that become careers.
Well, I gotta say, I think that the feeling of the water is like underrated. Like, because I haven't gone for a swim in ages. I used to be like a competitive swimmer when I was younger. Like, I made nationals when I was like 16. But like, ever since I stopped, I just haven't been swimming, because it's like, to me, it's like that's a part of myself that I let go. Like, that was a youthful dream, and then when I was a kid, I wanted to make the Olympics, and then I used to see, like, I'm not short. I'm like just under 6 foot, but like the people who are making Olympics are like 6'5", and I'm like, oh yeah, this might be a problem. So reality kicked in, but yeah.
You could have been that swimmer, man. You could have been a swimmer.
I could have been, but it got.
What I was talking about,
I
like,
got to say, there was a point where like I was done with the training. Like, I was swimming like 11 sessions a week. Like, it was ridiculous, and it was just like, it gets to a point where like you either continue to commit or you make the choice and actively make the choice that you were done. And I remember my coach leaving, and he left and moved overseas, and he got me to where I was. And then I joined a new club, and like as soon as I joined a new club, that was it. My motivation was just not there. I was just, after years and years of doing it, I was just like, nah, this is the beginning of the end. I could see it just in the way I just didn't have the drive. But everything that you said, like the giving yourself permission to live the life you want to live, is essentially what we should be striving for. I spoke to an artist, Masbo Q from New Zealand, and he was saying that like we get distracted by the Drakes, and we get distracted by like all these people who live these amazing lives, but like, what life do you actually want to live? Like, do you want to be that famous where you cannot go anywhere and unrecognized, and like you have zero freedom? Maybe that is, but maybe you want to be free enough that you can create freely, make an income off it, that you're like, making 6 figures, 7 figures, whatever it is, but also to be able to go have your spa day, to be able to go and get a jet ski and spend the day with your friends, just like go for a hike alone. Like,
right.
that is. And so when he was talking about it, I was like, oh yeah, the vision of what you want your life to be should be the driving factor, not the dollar figures in your bank account, because ultimately you're 100% right. It doesn't make you any happier. I think they did a study that was like, as soon as you earn over, I think it's like 120,000, that's it. You don't get any more happiness from that number going higher. So like, what else is making you happy? Because it's not going to be the money.
It's not. And I was like, the only difference is like, all right, well, I can pay for things, I can pay for everything. And that just, but I wasn't doing what I wanted to do deep down. I was being suppressed creatively, emotionally, just, it was, yeah. So yeah, it is important. But yeah, I don't want to be, I don't want to be super duper famous to where I can't like move. And one thing that, concerns me a little bit is that you can't, once you push the ball, sometimes you can't stop it. Even though I'm saying, yeah, I don't like, I want to be like, I want to be making a great living, like what you're saying, still have my freedom to do what I want. That's the life I want. And that's the route where I feel like I'm going. But I don't know what is in the cards, and I don't know what's gonna, like, if people, if I don't know, I guess you can't help being famous. You can't say, stop knowing about who I am now. This is the end right here. This is my ceiling. You can't go past here. It's like I can't control that. But I feel like I can to a certain extent. Like, I don't know. I don't know. But when you're in it, it's hard to know what's going on. Like, because I'm growing right now, and it's like I can see that there's a difference when I go out, like last year versus this year. Like, I could see that there's a difference in how people are treating me. Like, just I keep growing, I keep reinventing myself. I see you. I could just notice that it is a difference. And I'm like, oh, they're treating me like differently. Like, I'm some type of spectacle sometimes, depending on where I go. It's not everywhere. I mean, I go places and people don't know who I am. It's not like I'm just like the paparazzi are coming out around Charlotte, but it's like I definitely know in certain spaces, it's like, or online, I'm getting all the messages like, yo, I'm so proud of you. I'm so all the time, like everything you've accomplished. I remember, or people that I definitely know who they are. They're like, you might hit me up like, you might not remember me. And it's like, I do remember you. Like, I remember, why wouldn't I remember you? Like, it's just like people are looking at you differently from the outside. It's all about how people view you, I guess. It doesn't, I could think, yeah, I'm regular. I'm just like anybody else and everything. But if somebody thinks, oh, you're something special, or you're famous. Like, there's people who say I act famous now, and it's really weird because I feel like I'm literally just getting started. But it's all about how people view you, and then you gotta kind of move accordingly, because like you may feel like I'm very accessible right now, and it's getting to the point where I'm like, I gotta be less accessible to people because they might view me a certain way, and just because I know I'm normal and I'm just being accessible, it could be dangerous. It could get weird. It's just a lot of stuff that is like tied into that. Just being open and just being down to earth, it's a lot. So I'm kind of navigating that to where I can kind of not be so, open and trusting and like, hey, pull up on me here. Like, but I have to do that, but maybe he has security there, just in case. So different things, different ways I gotta move. But I'm sure I'm fine. But I actually am not sure. You don't know. You don't know who's watching you, and you don't know who knows you. And that's a part that's kind of like I'm grasping, like, because I'll meet people that follow me and I've never seen them, and they're like, I've never seen them a day in my life. I've never seen them comment on nothing. I've never seen nothing. Like just yesterday, I was getting flyers and sitting there and saying hi to the person. He's like, yeah, I follow you on Instagram. I support what you're doing. I really love what you're doing and keep going and stuff. And this guy has his own stuff going on. He's a YouTuber and successful on YouTube and different things. And I'm like, I didn't even know who you were. And you're following me and you're actually tapped into what I'm doing and what I got going on and people I run out into. And it's like, you don't realize, you just don't know who's watching. Just because they're not engaging don't mean they're not watching. You know what I'm saying? You see the views versus the likes. It's like people still see you and you see the reach and the profile visits, and you just don't know that it's real sometimes. But it's real unless you buy it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, let me just say, I'm glad you're accessible, because if you weren't, then we wouldn't probably be doing this. So it makes my life a lot easier. But I definitely get it. It's a balance of like, again, how much do you give? Because then that can become too much, where it's like, people start thinking that you owe them something. That's what a lot of people talk about, is like they used to respond to messages and stuff like that. And then when they stop, because obviously their career is grown and then time is not so simple. And like you and I both know that all the big artists, I'm not going to say all, but most of the big artists that have teams that respond to messages, it's not the artist. They don't have time genuinely to be like looking on social media and respond to like the millions of messages that they get. So like there is a part of it that you should also be like not as accessible, because I think that helps build the kind of mystery around you as well. Like it's just impossible to know what's really right, but you just got to do what you think is the right thing to do.
Yeah, it just exactly. And it's like, and for me, it's like to the point where it's getting overwhelming. And that's what it's like, because I am so accessible. It's like, all right, I have a text line, got about 400 people in there. I got my Instagram where people DM me. I got the Dope Events Instagram where people DM me. I got my actual phone number where people are calling me that had my number for years, just calling me out the blue. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I haven't talked to you in a couple of years, and now people are just reaching out to me and wanted to tap back in and just calling me. And it's like, and then it's like, and then I got Facebook, not to mention people on there. And it's like, it's just a lot, like to where I find myself responding to like hundreds of things per day. And it's like, I don't think, and then it's like people asking me miscellaneous stuff that it's like, I don't want to answer this right now. And it's a lot of stuff that I see, and it's like on my actual phone that I see, and I just don't respond to, because I think I responded to it and I didn't respond to it. So it's like, I feel like I need an assistant, like just to like, I want to be accessible, but I want there to be channels, you know, to where it can be streamlined in a way to where it can be organized. And then there's email, not multiple different emails. It's just a lot of stuff, like to try to manage at one time while you're pursuing your career, while you're out curating events and all of that. But you got to do it or get somebody else to do it. But it kind of, I don't know if it necessarily works.
Yeah. I mean, you just need that filter, someone to filter it for you. Just to be like, hey, these are the 8 that you need to respond to today. That would be a much better life of like prioritize, give me the prioritization as opposed to anything else.
Right. I just realized my name was in the corner that whole time. Oh no, it was in there the whole time. That's why it disappeared. But yeah, you got to prioritize, and that's where I'm at right now, so I can progress, because it's only so far. I mean, I've seen people get far alone, so I kind of like, I'm like, yeah, it's only so far you could go alone. Then the other side of me is like, no, I could do it all alone. I could get pretty far by myself. I'm just being lazy. I'm like, and it's like, no, you gotta. I'm kind of like struggling with
here's where I
myself.
disagree though. You're not being lazy, because it is harder to run a team than it is to do it by yourself. Like, because what you're doing now is setting yourself up for success. So like the wrong time to build a team is when it's unmanageable. That's the wrong time. That's too late. You need to build a team where it's manageable now, but you can see the scalability and you can be like, this is not capable. I'm not capable of doing this long term. So like, I actually disagree. This is not lazy. This is just like you being a smart artist, in the sense of you see the future and you see the trajectory. And so you hiring people and you building out a team is using foresight rather than, so I just think that's negative talk for yourself. It's actually a great thing that you're setting yourself up for success. That's what it is. Don't wait too long to do that, because if you wait, everyone's fucked.
Yeah, thank you for that insight, because yeah, you're right. It is, and it's like, if I know, it's like, all right, my workload is so much, I need people I need to outsource, and I just need to do it, because I'm gonna have to have a team one day. Why not be today? You know, so it's yeah. And it's like, yeah, I talk like, oh well, you could do it all, and it's like, no, I should be able to just do the music, the hiking, the ideas, you know, for my events, the stuff that I want to do and bring, and just have it all running. And I know I can just bring in the people that want to help, and I got people now, you know, I put it out there, you know, you ask, you shall receive. So now it's about just implementing. And yeah, it is like, now I got to be now my jobs are different because I have to be very organized in what I want from everybody and communicate that, unless I hire a manager too to manage all of that. But it's like, I'm kind of the man. My new job would be to manage my team versus all the different roles on it. But then we're all going to eat more because it's just going to go to the next level. Because I see it really like definitely growing. I've been growing this whole time, but I see it even I noticed that it's a different type of growth, and then with my events, and they're growing on their own thing, and it's like I see how they can play together, and I see how I can go on a world tour just through my own event company by just booking it out, and it don't even have to be a ReeCee Raps world tour. But I see how ReeCee Raps still needs her own. I'm saying it like it's not me, her own tour separately from it. So it's like a business. It is like it's a business, and it's like two different things, and businesses need teams. So yeah, I'm here doing that. And thank you. I appreciate that.
It's happening. I did want to ask about your cooking as well, because like I saw that like you've got recipes on there. What inspired that? Obviously, you know, cooking is something that you enjoy and something that you mentioned already, but like what inspired like actually being like, hey, I think I can put this out there. I think I can give people recipes. I can show them what I'm doing.
Yeah. Well, I said cooking is what I enjoy. Let me step back a little bit. I really enjoy eating good food, good vegan food. I'm vegan, so I enjoy everything on that page is vegan. But I enjoy eating really good vegan food, and it's sometimes you can't always get that unless you do it yourself. So I started that page like in 2019. It's really like a leisure page, but I see the scalability within that alone. You know, like that's one thing. It's like when I bring in these people, they gotta work for. I want it to be like for everything, because it's like I've already thought of ways, and I have the resources to do that, to blend that cooking with the music and different things. Like I have things that I want to work on creatively that I got to take some stuff off my plate so I can put some vegan food on my plate that I cooked and get it out to the people and online. But I do have a passion about being vegan. I think people don't know, like, our food is really good. Like you hear vegan food and you think like bland. It's like we got a bad rep, you know. So I
You know what
feel
it
like
is? It's well, because I'm not vegan myself, but like it's like it was at the beginning of the vegan movement, and it was like, you know, pushing these recipes that weren't good. But like I genuinely don't understand people who are like, I cannot eat a vegan meal, where it's like, really? Like you're really that stubborn that like you cannot have, like, there are so many delicious foods that don't have meat in them. Like I went to India and they have a lot of vegan curries and they're so tasty. Like it has nothing to do. It just was like, oh, the sauce has to be good. Like if you are good at cooking, it's, whatever you put in is going to be good. Like if the
right.
recipe is good, it's good. So like, yeah, I've never really understood this, like, you know, me versus them and like all this kind of thing. Like I am a big meat eater, but also I'm like not crazy enough to be like, tofu, gross. Like tofu, if it's cooked correctly, is really nice. Like everything else, if you cook it right, it tastes good.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's like, I want to show people, not only people like that vegan food is actually good, I also want to show people that you can actually, vegan food is good, and vegans, you can actually cook without overcomplicating it. Because for at the beginning of being vegan, I really did not know what to eat or what to make, and I didn't cook. You know, I would just eat it out, and I was vegetarian my first year, so I would just eat cheese fries every day, every day, like just no bacon, cheese fries every day. And then I end up cutting cheese out and dairy. So it's been like 5 years since I've been vegan, but it took for me to start getting in the kitchen and realize it's not hard to whip something up and eat. Because I think that's why sometimes some people convert back to eating, because it's very convenient to not be vegan. Like it's convenient, but it's fulfilling. I'm kind of like, I'm repulsed by meat now. It's like I can't imagine going back to eating meat. It's just like I don't think it's for me. But I never would have thought I would have been a vegan. Like it was always a foreign concept to me. Like it was just something I never knew any. I just didn't associate it with anything that I would ever be interested in my life. You know, I ate all the different meats and everything, but it took for me to like, you know, research it. I read this book called Maintaining Our Temples, and you know, it's deeper for me. And I kind of introduced the concept that it wasn't natural to be eating meat. And I was thinking about digestion and just different things and health. And I really was like, let's do it. Let me try this out. And I stopped eating meat and I haven't went back. It's just a lifestyle. You know, I don't even think about it. And people are like, oh, I don't know how you do it. It's like, I just don't eat meat, you know?
So
I eat a
funny.
lot
They
of
will probably
stuff.
say the exact same thing about, I don't know how you get up on stage and rap. And it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
it's like the same sentiment
Exactly.
with two different things.
Right. And it's like you just do it, you know. And it was a thing too, like going from vegetarian to vegan. And I'm like, I was telling the client, like, I don't know how you do it. And she's like, yeah, it's easy. All you gotta do is stop buying cheese. And I was like,
And
stop buying cheese and dairy. I'm like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, I'm making the decision to get it with the cheese, and I'm making the decision to eat the meat. I'm making the decision to whatever it may be in your life, you're making the decision to do it or not do it. You know, and once you decide if it's something you really want, you'll do it, and it'll just be easy for you because you did it so long ago. Now it's like, all right, I'm vegan, but let me show y'all how to be vegan. And I'm definitely looking forward to stuff by the end of this year, having those cross branding those, because you know I put my music behind my recipes, but it's a whole thing. I can't say it yet. It's a whole genius idea I have, and it's gonna perfectly blend my music and my cooking lanes. Because you know I could blend the events and the music. I could blend the events and the cooking. Sometimes I've cooked for events and had my mom serve it or something like that. Like I blended that. I haven't blended the music and cooking besides just putting my music behind the recipes, but it's a way, and I'm excited about doing it. As I get other stuff off my plate, I can focus on that new
well,
endeavor.
I had an idea, and you can tell me whether it's the same idea as yours, but my idea was like getting the sounds of the cooking in the music, in the sense of you can build in, like, because there's some really cool sounds in any kitchen, right? Like even just the chopping of vegetables, there's something like the ASMR of it. It's like pleasant,
Yeah.
or like, you know, the first time of a really hot pan and you're putting something in and the sizzle. And so that's where my head instantly went to. Maybe that's where it is, but like mine was like, oh, how you could do stuff like that of like just
So that's dope. That was not it, but what you just said could amplify my idea to do this. And when is this dropping?
uh in probably about 6 weeks, I would say, around that time frame.
I wonder, should I just do it? No, I'm not gonna say it. I'm like, yeah, it's because I gotta get it out because it's like it's dope. So okay, I'll be saying I'm gonna just do it. It's gonna be 6 weeks. Okay. I have 6 weeks to get the first episode out. No, so rapping recipes basically where I'm rapping recipes. We can do the ASMR beats. We can make the beats from scratch, the sound of the music, and then like have rhyme books, recipe books.
That's
Like
awesome.
yeah, so that's what I want to do is like blend my music, like where it's like, and then it's like a soundtrack and it's like songs. It's like a bunch of songs that are either, I'm still trying to figure out whether the song should be like, all right, Vegan Philly. That's the song, and it's literally the recipe as the song, or should it be songs themed to it? But I'm trying to figure out how to tie it all in. But
Well, if I
yeah.
can add and see if I can amplify your idea,
Mhm.
you could. I think there are a couple ways you could do it. You could title the recipe the way you feel after you eat the dish, and so that could be the title of like not the recipe itself, but like the
Right.
feeling that you get or whatever it makes you feel when you cook it. Like this is how you feel, and then the song
Mhm.
can incorporate the recipe, or you can go the other way around, which is like, here's the recipe. Let me talk to you about how it makes me feel when I'm like cooking what it represents. So I feel like you could go multiple ways with it of
Right.
just like, but
The recipe and make it a song. Like first you put the stuff in, then you get that. I ain't bluffing though. I ain't bluffing when I say you gotta put a dash of salt. I don't know, but it's like I feel like you could like. I'm still like I really gotta take time to like outsource so I could sit down and really create and write it out like about how it can be because it's like the possibilities are endless when well probably not endless but it's probably not too
well, I
many
was
ways.
just like, how would you then? You have to come up with a lot of different rhymes for measurements because it's like
Right.
you got to have 300 grams enough like your nans. And then I was like,
Well,
oh,
well, you don't got to put the measurements. You could have that written out on a book,
hmm.
but then just say what's in it and how to do it.
Or the other thing I was thinking about is like you just have a song that you should listen to while you're cooking it, which is like at the depth of experience. It's like,
I
there's
like
really fancy restaurants that you can go to and they have like the sound of the ocean while you're eating seafood. And apparently the simple sound of the ocean brings out the salt in the flavor. And so like you can have these other sounds that kind of just amplify it all so that like, because when I cook, I put music on sometimes, or sometimes I just do it in silence because I like the mental freedom. But like you could have the music that just amplifies it all of like, cook this while listening to this, and this will help you feel this certain way.
right. I like that. Because I feel like with the recipe is a song thing, I'm overcomplicating it. And it's like I'm making it like much when I just make music and I make food and I can blend it. And I would name the songs after the food in that case. And then I also have something I'm working on called the cook up where we're cooking and making a song at the same time. So I'm like, I wonder should that all play into the same thing to where it's like, all right, well, the cook up, now we got the rapid recipes page. I'm probably gonna change my vegan ReeCee Cooks again to rap in recipes. And then we got the rhyme books, but it's all but then we got the cooking show as well. I got a space that already is ready to do it. It's like everything. So yeah, I want it all. I don't want to make it so to where I'm doing like so many different things, but I want it to be able to like benefit each other. But yeah, I do like that. I I don't want to overcomplicate it though to where I'm like, all right, now I gotta. It makes it like scientific in a way if you try to like make the song the recipe, and I'm like, that's why I'm like, I don't even know, but I do. I'm going to blend it to where that music is curated for these dishes, and that way I can do those collaborative posts on the ReeCee Raps and Rapid Recipes page, and it makes sense.
Well, what you walked into was essentially the combining of two things that I love, and that is food and rapping. And so I could not go through this whole interview without giving you my take and my thoughts. But who knows? Hopefully it helped. People just listen to us brainstorm for about 15 minutes about like what you could do. But
Right. That's valuable within itself. And that's why it's like, even like, see, I didn't know if I wanted to share that, but that what you just added was input that can amplify what I'm doing. And that's important for life to kind of, sometimes you gotta collaborate in order to get stuff done or to even be motivated to actually do it. But yeah, sometimes you gotta just put it out there and yeah, but I'm excited about doing that though. I'm excited about getting that because it's like I love it both, and I really I want to take some time and have more stuff. Like, people don't even know I'm vegan sometimes, I put it in my bio. I don't really push it all the time. So I definitely wanted to, it's not really my identity. I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm vegan. But but I do feel like I could
What
ingrain
do you
it
mean
more.
you don't introduce yourself like, hi, I'm vegan straight away? That's
Oh
not.
no, I don't. I don't. That's what people think vegans do
Yeah.
though. Like, hey, by the way, I'm vegan. I know nobody asked, but but maybe at one point. No, I don't think it's ever been
No,
like
you don't
at the,
strike me as that person who's like, excuse me, just so everyone knows, I'm vegan.
right.
You,
Unless
you
we're
y'all
going to
can.
food orders. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? And then I'm like, okay, I'm vegan, by the way. Someone say, oh, you want to go out to eat? And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm vegan, by the way. I hope that doesn't deter you from going out to eat with me. So yeah, it's like people don't even expect it because I'm not what you think a vegan would look like. Like people think vegans are all like super skinny and they just don't expect vegans to even be in their realm, and it's not in a lot of people's realm, so they don't even think about it and they don't know. So it's like a part of putting it out there, showing people, hey, there's a way to be vegan, and I was just like you. I ate all of that stuff, and I don't like it no more. I'm repulsed by it now. I used to eat chicken like everybody else. Like, I used to eat a lot of stuff, but now that I couldn't imagine eating today, and it's just because it's who I'm vegan now. So, and you can be too, because the
Yeah.
food is really good. And I for my events, I would do all vegan food if people's mindset wasn't so close sometimes to it. So I always make sure I have vegan options. But it's like if you have all vegan options, somebody is liable to go leave the event and go find something to eat because this food is like inedible in some people's heads. So I don't know. I don't get it. It's like I can't eat what you eat, but everybody can eat vegan food, but people act like no, not everybody can eat that.
Except for the
So
carnivores who are like, I'm on the pure carnivore diet. All I do is eat meat. That's also like an interesting realm. But anyway, we can get into this a different time. But like, yeah, I love that idea of the cooking show. My only request, and can I just say, we got the exclusive here first. So
yeah.
hell yeah, I love a bit of an exclusive. But if you ever need guests on your show, I actually am pretty handy in the kitchen. I'm horrendous at baking. I will tell you right now, baking is not my thing, too precise in the sense of like you have to have, and then I'm just like, I just get bored at some point and I start throwing flour and I'm like a mess in but when it comes to actual cooking, like I love pans and I love like the heat. There's something about it all. Then you throw in a bit of this and you throw in a bit of that and you taste it and you're like, you know what? I'm going to add a bit more of this. And so I like recipes and then I like to add my own flavor to like, a little bit more, a little bit less. Let's see if I can enhance it.
Yeah, it's power in being able to put stuff together like that. It's like chemistry behind cooking. It's like all the components and how it all makes something new. It is exciting. You're creating something, and those are literally, they say culinary arts for a reason. It's literally an art. Like, and I just believe that more people should cook, and especially try vegan food, like cooking vegan food specifically. It's like, yeah, I don't cook meat anymore. I know some vegans that cook for other people, they might cook meat and stuff too, but I don't, that's kind of gross to me, just the raw, like I get like grossed out even just like, yeah, like I'm good on that. But like, I would love to like show more people and have people on my show that are not vegan. Like, it's not just like a vegan only territory, like I want guests that are not vegan and like in studio audience that may or may not be vegan, like bringing together the people that just want to see a song cooked up on the spot, as well as hear the music. Yeah, that was the same thing. Hear the music and cooked up on the spot, as well as eat a dish that is very delicious and vegan. So, and I'm very I'm very prideful I don't think I can cook bad. Like I'm really good at it. I'm good at everything, man. I'm good at everything I put my mind to. And it's all about, I feel like anybody, I couldn't say everybody is, but I feel like cooking takes patience. It really takes patience. You can't rush and try to cook. You really just gotta, like, when I cook, I'm liable to sit there for 3 hours cooking, just 3 to 4 hours, just like working on it. I got some dishes that are like really easy and quick to make that I know I'll make if I'm like in a rush, like tacos and stuff like that. But when I'm really cooking, I really just take that time and just take my time, because if I don't, then it might not be as good, because you got to really take the time to, like you said, try it, make sure everything right, you go back to it. Like I don't think you could make a bad dish if you really just take your time.
I also think it takes instinct. Like you need to trust.
Mm-hmm.
There's something about cooking where it's like, instructions can only take you so far, because like you need to be able to trust in being like, this needs a little bit longer in the pan, or like this
Right.
needs a little bit less, or I need this to cool, or I need to turn down the heat. There's something about like the nature of always being aware of instinctually where it needs to go. And I think that's the hard part about people who are learning to cook, is like they don't have the experience of cooking, so they don't have the instinct and like to be like, I know that mushrooms, for example, lose a lot of water in the pan, so like
Right.
it's not going to be as big, so maybe I need more. Or like spinach starts massive and then it shrinks down, so the amount of spinach that you need is probably more than you think that you need. And so like understanding all those components is part of what makes you better, and you just got to start.
Yeah, that's important to mention. It is about instinct, especially somebody like me who I don't really use measurements. I'll see what's in it, and rarely I'll be using measurements. And one time I did, I was like, "Yo, I don't think this much salt is supposed to go in here," but I bypassed my instinct. I put all that damn salt in there and it was salty. I was like, I had to add other stuff to try to take away from the salt. It's like, yo, I knew this whole freaking cup of salt wasn't supposed to go in here, but trying to listen to the recipe too close will have you messed up out here. So see what's in it, see the components, do your own thing, and make it yours. That's about anything that you're creating, make it your spin on it.
I love that about anything you're creating. And before we turn this podcast into a 3-hour cooking podcast, I am very much aware of taking up a lot of time about cooking. Maybe that's a side podcast that I have that's just talking about food. That's like maybe I already have a different idea for a podcast that I'll add when the time is right. But here's my last question. I only have one more question for you. It's the only question that I plan on the show. But if you had to recommend one album that everybody should listen to at least once to get an appreciation of, cannot be your own music, can be any genre of music. Don't worry, we'll do the plug after. But yeah, any genre of music, cannot be your own music. What would it be?
Malibu by Anderson .Paak.
I could see the look in your face that you would like already had an answer before I finished talking. Most guests that I have, they're all like, oh, for fuck's sake. Like, Aaron, why this question of all the questions you could ask? But Malibu by Anderson .Paak, why that project?
Because that's what I love. That project is probably one of the projects that I've loved in my recent, since I started making music, because it's not a lot of music I listen to outside of my own. And a lot of times I'm not really even an album listener. I know that's terrible because they put it together. They put it together for you to listen to the whole album. And it's like, yeah, it's not too many albums where I'm like, yo, I really love this album, and it's just me in this stage. I mean, that question probably would have been answered different, of course, years ago, because first off, Malibu wasn't out in my childhood or anything, but there's not really something from childhood that I'm like, yeah, I just really freaking love this whole album. And it's like Malibu, though, that's one of them projects that I love the instrumentation. I love just the different vibes. And if there's like 4 songs on a project that I can listen to on repeat, like a million times, because I'm one of those listeners where I'll find a song that I love and I'll just listen to it over and over and over and over and over again. Then I won't listen to it for months. And that's like, there's multiple songs, at least 5 or 6 on Malibu for me that I have listened to probably like 1,000 times each, So I think definitely Put Me Through, definitely Come Down is on there, like this song Parking Lot was one that I would skip. Then I went back and it ended up being one. I was like, listen to it on repeat all the time. Just like, I love how it was put together. I love Anderson .Paak as a musician. I think he's amazing. I think he's really dope. Like, I want to go on tour with him. I think I would be a great fit. I love the energy behind what he creates and how his cadences and how he delivers. And just I just feel like that album is just it. Like, that album is it. Like, Malibu, I want to have not my own Malibu, but I want to have an album with that I feel like all my music's dope, but I want to put something together like that length that is just like timeless and just there and beautiful. I wish I would have been onto it when it came out though, and I could have went to the tours and all that stuff. But I'm gonna catch up with Anderson .Paak one day. But that album is amazing. Have you heard it?
I haven't. It's an album I need to listen to.
Oh yeah, you should listen to it. It's great. It's rapping and singing. It's some of the songs you could tell the band made, because he got the Free Nationals and stuff. Some of the songs you could tell the band made the beats, or some of the songs were more like just, well, I think I can tell. Look, he might come back and be like, no, the band didn't make none of those beats. But no, I felt like the band, I could just tell like the band made some of those beats, and some of them were more electronic, and it's just dope. I really think it's really dope. So,
well, there you go. And the shout out to Anderson .Paak as well. Like, it's gonna happen. You and ReeCee Raps, and then we'll have to.
Vision board. You want to see it? I'll show you.
Yeah, do. Yeah, show me.
I'm gonna show you my vision board. Hold on.
We're having a look at the vision board. Here we go. All right. Oh, this is very cool.
Okay, so it's right
You
here.
so much in there. You got watches and cameras. Is that Egypt I see in there as well? There's Anderson .Paak.
So it says Anderson .Paak and the Free Nationals. This was for his last tour, Best Teeth in the Game. But then it says with special guests, and I put ReeCee Raps right there from one of my flyers. So
it's gonna happen.
I crossed out the teeth, and I'm like, okay, it's Best in the Game tour, and it's back with ReeCee Raps. And so yeah, that's what I want. I want to go on tour with him, because I do feel like I go to his comments sometimes, and it's like, it'd be like some 65-year-old in there like, I'm 65 and I love Anderson .Paak. And then all these other 65 plus year olds would be like, I'm 70. He's awesome. Comment underneath the comment. And it's like, Anderson .Paak is one of them people, he got fans all the way up in their 60s, but then probably like all the way down in their 20s, and maybe teens too. I'm sure everywhere, like, just the spectrum is very wide. And I feel like not a lot of, he's still very slept on, but he's very successful, and he's really like one of the highest paid musicians out here. And I just kind of, and I love what he does with the band, just seeing him and his band perform, his tiny desk and everything like that. I think it's really dope. I think everything he does really dope, and I want to be able to make music with him one day and perform on the tour with the dope band, because I perform with bands. But that chemistry you have with that band, that's like they've been playing together for a long time. And I think it's kind of difficult to control that many different emotions at once, because I've been playing with bands for a minute, but it's been like different bands. And it's like, it's kind of, I want to have my own set again, which I can. That's another thing. That's a whole nother thing, like, that I gotta manage, is this whole band because I want to pop back out because I've been performing without the band for quite some time, but now I'm at a point where I want to go back to where I don't have any shows without my band because it's a whole nother experience. And I think everybody deserves that. You think I'm a great performer now and you haven't seen me with a band. It's like, it's a whole nother thing. And I be wanting to cry sometimes when I hear my music play live with a band because my music translates very well to live music because most of my producers play instruments, so they play keys or something like that, and it's not so electronic with a lot of my stuff. There's instruments, even if it is electronic, it's still instrumentation involved with it. So just my shows with the band, I can entertain without one, but I just want to have many shows all over the world with the budget to where my whole band can go with me because I don't want to, some people have dancers, some people, I've done dancers, I've done other things. I find more fulfillment and value with having that band than let me get these dancers and have this choreography and stuff. It's like that. The band fits my music more than the latter. So I'm just, and the part of that, me figuring that out has been, trying out different things and seeing what works.
Well, I'm looking forward to you being able to do it and seeing that happen. And I'm sure you will tour down in Australia at some point as well.
Yeah, I will.
Because we're a world away, but we're not that far away. But it's been an absolute pleasure. ReeCee Raps obviously came through. For anyone who hasn't checked her out, please do. Obviously on IG, you've got your YouTube videos as well. That's where your most recent music is out, and those visuals are really good as well. You've got the Alibi as well. That's your most recent single that came out. There's a 6-minute YouTube video. There's a 6-minute clip on there, so make sure you check it out. You also had an EP that you used Jay Dilla beats on. That's also on YouTube as well, SoundCloud, from what I saw. But yeah, amazing to have you on the show. I cannot wait to see you continue to do amazing things. And I cannot wait also to see you combine the cooking and the music. I'm sure it'll be absolutely fantastic. But is there anything else you wanted to shout out? Anything else you wanted to plug?
Definitely Dope EP. Check it out. The Dope EP, Diary of a Pothead, is 420. So I would be remiss to not mention that. But yeah, that's where it all started. And Diary of a Pothead, that song, that's how Dope Events, DOAP Events, my event company, that's how that all started. And definitely be on the lookout for what we got coming up with Dope Events. We're expanding, we're growing, we're going on tour, and it's going to be great. And also I'm dropping a project. So Alibi is the first single to my upcoming EP called Queen of Hearts. So definitely be on the lookout for the end of spring. Maybe around the time this one drops, Alibi will be out, or no, the Queen of Hearts will be out. And it's definitely a breakup EP. I'm getting out all this toxic relationship music so I can move on to other things. So that will be coming out late spring, early summer. So definitely be on the lookout for that, and just follow me and keep up with me. I have a text line, all that good stuff, and just tap in. We here.
And ReeCeeRaps.com as well.
Yes, ReeCeeRaps.com. Thank you. I usually don't get my website right. Or you could Google me if you spell it right. You gotta spell it right though. You might get other stuff if you don't spell it right.